Hey, it's Bean. So, actually, there's been this little story I've been working on for a while now. It's more of a manga-esque type format story featuring a lot of my OCs like Anna, Mei Ying, Violet, etc. Anyways, today I'm going to be drawing the most recent pages with you guys. I'll just show you guys all the pages up until now on screen. You can just pause and read if you want. And if you can't read my shitty handwriting, sorry, I guess. Okay, so we're just getting right into it. Okay, this segment is going to be unscripted, so just welcome to the Bean 17 Magic podcast. I know, incredible name. But if you follow me on TikTok, you've probably seen some of my OCs, mainly Anna and Violet, because they are the main characters, you know? But I guess I should talk about how these OCs came to be. I made Anna first. And before that, I'd never really been like the type of person to make OCs. I know that might sound kind of weird. I mean, because like most kids make OCs, right? I just like never really made one. But then I think like two years ago or something, or a year ago, fuck if I know. I made Anna. And then I was just thinking, okay, so we have Anna, and now we need someone else. And I guess the idea for like a star-esque person had been in my head for a while, and I just kind of made Violet, and they were born. I'm like, okay. And as you do, it spirals, right? And I wanted an idea for this world, like this other world, where it's basically just fucking random and crazy, and like anything can happen, you know? I thought that would be really cool. So I'm like, okay, we have this world. There are rules to the world. Like it is random and crazy, but the reason things happen, there is a reason. Like the environments or like the people in it, there is a reason. Which I think is cool. Um and yeah. So I guess that's how I made my OCs. And then obviously writing, cuz I do make scripts for this manga. Like, I know that might sound a little much, but I do make scripts. I already have um like quite a bit of dialogue, but I haven't gotten around to drawing it because holy shit, drawing this makes my hands cramp so fucking much. Like I regret, like it's cute, it's physical, but I regret like making this traditional art so badly because like holy shit. Because like the black is the most annoying part. And I just anytime I draw this, I just think if I did this digitally, all I would have to do is do a bucket tool in black. You know, or I could use white line art, but it's just a whole thing. But it is cute, but I'm like, I just prefer digital art so much more when it comes to stuff like this. Um, okay, that was a tangent, but like, anyways, writing. I think writing is so interesting because I've written for like such a long time. And writing for this is just so fun because it's like you just have an idea and then you're like, I'm like, I gotta write that down because I have a horrible memory and I'll forget. But like, I'm like, I just have this random idea and I'm like, I gotta write that down. And then like it's weird because you have these ideas that are like segmented, but then eventually it's kind of like they all come together, which is the most satisfying thing ever. But also what I think is like one of the hardest things in writing is like how you connect these character arcs or like these different motifs. And like I also think placement is like one of the most difficult things in writing too, because it's like um because it's like sometimes you just like don't know if a scene should go here yet, you know? Like you don't know if it's time to reveal this information or have this conversation happen now or later. Which like it sucks because there's really like there are general rules to writing, but when it comes to stuff like that, it's really just up to you and like how you want to pace your story. And I think that's like really hard to do when it comes to writing. And also, I guess more recently, I've started like viewing the shows that I've watched from a more analytical like lens. Like I've always been a writer, so I've always known the tricks they do, and like I think I've been able to like have a good judgment of like whether like writing is good or not. Like obviously there are reasons for like why you like a show or not, but I view it much more like in a sense of writing. And it can get annoying sometimes because sometimes it just takes me out of it. I think bad writing especially, you know when writing's bad because it completely like just takes you out of the show. And then you just start criticizing like other random shit about it, which I think is funny. But not even just writing, but like art too and like character designs. It I don't know like why it baffles me, but I just like I look at the writing and like the character designs and I'm like I guess I've always like had such a notion that like most people know what they're doing and there is just like some correct thing, but there's really not. Like when you write something, like obviously there are like general rules in art and writing, but it's like you are the one like coming up with these ideas and making the decisions. And I don't know why that's so crazy to me, but it kind of is. Because it's like I'm like, goddamn, I'm fucking in control of like what happens. And like even just like character design too. Like it's just like crazy to me. Like I get to decide what clothes they wear or like what kind of hair they have or like just like when these plot points are happening. And I think that's like really cool. And also more about writing. Um I've been working on this story a while. And I think when it comes to writing, I find dialogue to be some of the hardest stuff because it's like not only do you want to take into consideration like how people actually speak, like you do want some realism. You also like you don't want people to sound like too melodramatic, and you also like need to take into consideration their like psychology. Most characters will have like a goal that they'll have a want and then a need, and that's just like a general thing, but it's like you really have to take into consideration like how a specific character will view what someone else says, because like in the real world it's like you don't notice it, but subconsciously it happens where people will interpret things very differently based on their life experiences and who they are. Like, for example, it's like someone could say one thing, but then a pessimistic character will view that completely different than like maybe optimistic character who's like a lot more cheerful. And I think that's like so crazy, but it's like you really do have to take into consideration like the psyche of everyone, and that can be like really fucking overwhelming sometimes, especially when it comes to trauma and like everyone has a different like trauma response, but you really have to like take into consideration that. And I think that's why dialogue can sometimes be so difficult because every single thing someone says means something. Like even like because the reason they said that is because of who they are. And you can say it's not that deep, but when you're telling a story, you do want it to be that deep. You want like every single piece of dialogue to have a subtextual meaning. And I think I struggle with that a lot. I struggle with subtext so much. I think like dialogue, I'm getting the hang of it, but like when I'm writing like an actual like book format story, it's so fucking hard because you have to like um it's not just dialogue, but it's also internal dialogue where it's like when you're describing something in a book, it's like the reason they describe that has a different connotation behind it. Like, I think it's so interesting, but it's like people like rain, for example. Such a simple thing. I fucking love rain. All right, I love how it sounds. I love the general atmosphere and the vibe. But like other people could be like, no, I hate rain. It's wet, it's annoying, it's just like it's not I don't like thunder, you know? It's like stuff like that. It's just like so interesting because your world experiences shape who you are and how you view things. So anyways, back to like writing, it's like so when someone describes something, you don't want to just describe that thing. You want to you want to like describe how they would describe it. So how I describe rain would be completely different than someone else who's also describing rain. And I think that's so interesting because there is subtext in there then. Because it's like if they describe rain in a good way, then you know that they like rain even though they didn't specifically say that they liked rain. It's like word choice is so fucking important. But anyways, I think the part of subtext that I struggle with most is like that internal dialogue because it's like besides describing things, it is just difficult to like get a grip on things because in writing I think one of the most important things is build up. Like especially with angst. I'm a sucker for angst. I'll admit that now. I fucking love angst. But like angst especially, it's like I'll read stories with angst in it, and if that angst does not have good build-up, like, for example, like, there hasn't been, like, any underlying reason for why that's happening, then it just feels like that angst is happening out of nowhere, and you kind of get whiplash. You're like, why is this character upset? And then you just, like, and then they're just annoying, you know, because I feel like good angst, it like has a very specific reason behind it, and if you don't properly like define why that is happening or like build up to that angst, then it just feels like so out of pocket. But I think when angst is written well, it is because you understand why it's happening or like there is like a subtextual reason for it, because then it's just like I feel like angst is a really good way to delve into like trauma and mental illness because it can be very outward, um, especially like that angsty internal dialogue. But I do think it's good because it really does delve into like some deeper topics that I feel like some writing just like leans too much away from. Like um, I like anytime I like read like this is one of my biggest issues with fantasy. Most fantasy doesn't delve into mental illness, which is like that's fine if you don't want to do that, but it's like I just think it's funny cuz it's like so much traumatic shit is happening to these characters and then they're just fine. They never get into it. They're never like, "Oh, that was kind of traumatic." They're just like, "Oh, okay, we're on to the next adventure." It's like, "Bro, what?" Um I just think that's kind of funny. But yeah, I think that's like that really fucking annoys me. And what also annoys me is how stories that have mental illness in it have to only be about mental illness or like trauma. And that just really pisses me off because it's like, yes, there are so many like mentally ill like people, but it's like isn't the only thing. Why can't you have a balance of like delving into trauma and mental illness but also just like have an actual story with plot? Hello. And I think that's really what I want to kind of achieve in this story because there's going to be a lot of angst, all right, later down the line. Don't even worry about it. But I really want to delve into all these individual characters' trauma and their mental illness, but I also want to tell a story with a cohesive plot, you know? And I really just like want to like delve into like who they are as people, because I feel like too much of the time it's just like they're defined, like people are defined by their mental illness, which I think is such a sad thing to like think, because that's just so untrue. But so much of the time people just get like labeled and that's all they are, which sucks ass. So I don't want to do that. I really want to try to do something unique with the story, um and you'll see as it keeps going. This is literally just the beginning. Okay, well, that got a little heavy, but I guess I should talk about my art process. Um, Honestly, okay, actually, I'll talk about how I make OCs. Okay, I'm not even gonna lie. Making OCs, it's literally purely a vibe. Like, all of my OCs, I don't specifically like seek out to make them. They just like kind of come to me. It's like kind of just like random ideas. Like I'll have I'll have this general vibe for a character and I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's kind of cool." And then I think about like, okay, like what like vibe are they, like are they, it's their personality basically. So it's like, are they like brash and like very outward, are they more introverted, or like like stuff like that basically. And then I think like designing is the most fun part, because then you get to pick out what hairstyle they're gonna have, their outfits, like unique little quirks about them, which is just my favorite. But that's how I make OCs. My overall art process, dude, I don't know. Like, I just like sketch whatever. I just like I try to come up with an idea in my head first, and then I kind of like I try to like frame it out onto the page. Um with the which making manga, it's like you really have to use your imagination, because you have to think, okay, so how do I like want to frame this? What is the mood I want? But also like what would be the best like pose or like angle for this specific scene? Like, it's just like stuff like that. I don't really know how else to describe it, but it's like it can be hard at times, but I think generally I do best when I'm just like using my imagination first, and then I do the technicalities next, like anatomy, pose, like, just like stuff like that. But yeah, making manga is fun, but also kind of a pain in the ass. But yeah, that's just kind of my art process. Um, And yeah, for this manga, I really want to like get more of the story, so like you guys can like really get a gist of what kind of story it is, cuz this is really like only the beginning of it. And I have so much planned. Like you're not even ready for it, but like yeah. And I'm so excited to introduce other OCs. Like, okay, my OCs are like my children. All right, like I love every single one of them so much. And I have so many more characters that are so fun that I just want to introduce. Um, I could probably show you a couple of them for a sneak peek, but like, yeah. Um, and yeah, uh, that's basically what I want to do. I realize I haven't really said much about the actual plot, but like, you can just read it if you want. Oh my god, the video ended. Dude, what? Alright, here's the real shots. I hope you like it. Tell me what you think about it in the comments. This story means so much to me, and I just want to, like, I want to know what y'all think, because I haven't really shared with anyone besides, like, TikTok. But, like, yeah. I'll show you guys some bonus sketches, too. There's Anna and Violet in the new mystical world they're in. There's Anna and May when they're younger. They're little freshmen, which is adorable. And then here's just like some concept art with outfits and designs and stuff. Okay, and here's a sketch of a character that won't come until a lot later, but here's Zelda. I just couldn't resist showing you her. She's so cute. I love her. But yeah, if you guys like this, I might make it into a series or something like that. So just like let me know down in the comments. And as always, don't forget to dislike and unsubscribe from my YouTube channel.